Shuffle, shuffle. All right. So today we're going to create a monster. And the first question I always ask people is, what genre are we working in? Because genre will have a huge impact on how you view the cards that you draw when you're looking at a monster. I am a huge fan, personally, of Miyazaki films. So let's try shooting for some sort of fun and interesting Miyazaki-style monster. I feel like Miyazaki's like a genre of his own. Um, so that's our genre of choice. And then when you have a monster, our first introduction to it is always the textures. What's it made out of? This gives us our initial clues of how we want to interact with the animal. And then monsters always also have a strong relationship with their habitat and a purpose within the habitat. So let's start by drawing a couple of texture cards. Ooh, interesting. So we have woven. Fibers lovingly tangled into a useful shape. I like that. And the green on this card is really striking me right now. I also kind of love the prompt of the woven leaves, so I'm gonna keep that in mind. Um, and the another prompt on this card that's kind of evocative and interesting to me is the bird. I like the idea of maybe having a symbiotic relationship with the animals in its environment, and I feel like that would be very much a Miyazaki style choice. And then we have leathery. Skin has thickened due to age or heavy use. So this is an old monster. This monster's been around a long, long time. Okay, let's find out what the habitat is. Oh, interesting. Library. Okay, this is going to be fun. Library is a sanctuary for knowledge. It doesn't necessarily have four walls. Like this. Okay, and what's the monster's purpose within this library? The Peacekeeper. Hey, come back, card. There we go. Okay. So, our monster, the primary purpose is to be a peacekeeper. A lawman or vigilante who keeps chaos at bay. Everybody knows that libraries would be places of chaos if it weren't for the librarians who keep things in order. So, I think this monster is going to be something who's responsible to keep the library in order. This is the natural habitat of this monster. It naturally wants to sort things and lump them into groups, and keep the knowledge within the library safe. So I like this, and I actually really like the leathery along with the library prompt. These two work really well together. When I think of leathery, I think of leather-bound books. So these aren't just your classic paper, parchment, libraries, books. These are special books. These are valuable books. They contain the sorts of things that you would normally want to put in a really beautiful case and cover with lovely clasps. So I'm actually, normally these textures go with the monster. I'm gonna put these together though. And then let's find out. I want to give this monster an elemental affinity because our library doesn't necessarily need to have four walls. And I want to know a little bit more about the monster. So I'm going to draw for a texture card. Magic. Energy, movement, or change that violates current understanding of physics, inspires awe, symbolizes responsibility to one's community. Interesting. Okay, and I'm trying to think of within a Miyazaki style genre, how would we interpret these? So magic is involved in some way. Magic's involved. Okay, I'm gonna move this over here. Big thing that we're missing. I said that over here in this prompt, the relationship. Oops. The relationship between the woven thing and the bird was interesting to me. So I'm gonna try drawing a relationship card. Oh, interesting. But that always kind of freaks me out when you have these cards where it's like, oh, it's a yellow bird and it's a yellow bird. Because it's sometimes when I have those visuals, I like to lump those things together. Experiment. Controlled investigation when the subject does not understand the test, undertaken to resolve conflicting theories about the world. Okay, so we're starting to have this habitat take a little bit of a shape. This is a library filled with really valuable things. Um, and I think they've probably taken an old monster, and they're putting it in this area to see if it's capable of protecting the library. But the monster, protecting the library and maybe helping to sort it. Maybe they're taking advantage of an animal's natural instinct to sort and gather things. Um, but there's probably something about this monster that they don't understand. Um, that might make the experiment not work out so good. Um, so I'm liking this. I want to give a quirk to this monster. So let's find out what's wrong. These trait cards are often a very great way to help add conflict to your monsters. Because monsters always exist for a reason, and they become a monster when the purpose for their existence is pulled out of balance, when they're put in a place where they don't usually go, and their behavior becomes unpredictable in a way that's destructive. So, here we go. Here's our magic card. So this is a hungry monster. It's ravenous. I'm just gonna go straight for the ravenous. So this is actually kind of cute. So they're trying to see if they can put this monster in a beautiful library, but the monster's hungry. And maybe the monster actually eats magic. Um, so, um, interesting. So it has change, has magic. Um, responsibility of one's community. I want to know. I want to know one more thing about this monster. Let's give it one more trait. Guilty. Responsible for the worst thing that's happened recently to everyone around them. Oh, I like that. Okay. So this is probably a recovered monster too. And here's where we start to have a strong relationship, because I'm looking for a story to tell. And I'm looking for some interaction that this monster will have with its environment. Oops, I did not mean to grab that deck. So I think what I'm going to do here is, this is a monster where somebody believed in it. This most people around look at this thing as a monster, but somebody looks at this monster and says, you know what, we maybe have a use for this monster. And so this is the monster's second chance. They put it in a library as an experiment to see if this monster that and maybe it's a little bit of like an autistic monster. It likes to sort things into categories. So they're looking to see if they can help this monster find a function and a purpose, but they don't anticipate, maybe they don't know, that this is actually a creature that eats magic. So they put it in this library full of magic, and really valuable magic. But then the monster starts to actually assimilate the magic instead of organizing it. It's not used to having this wealth of resources available to it. So the monster quickly grows out of control. Maybe it becomes the magic that it consumes when it maybe licks a spell off a page. I think that would be a really cute way to have a monster eat things. It just licks the ink off the page and absorbs the spell. And when it does that, it becomes whatever spell it just ate. So that would be a um, really interesting story. You could have kind of a quirky, sweet monster that is still a huge problem in a situation like that. And I think that would be a really fun story to tell, definitely matching the Miyazaki style genre. So hopefully this is a fun monster and gives you an idea of, a little more in depth how you can match and pair some of these cards together, and the types of questions that I ask as I'm going along to generate a full story. So thanks for watching.